Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface on the alpha for World of Warcraft's next expansion, Legion. And yesterday I brought you the opening scenario for the Alliance for the Stormheim zone. Today, doing a role reversal, I'm going to do this same scenario but from the Horde perspective. So again, it's going to have spoilers in this, storyline spoilers. I'm also going to talk about some spoilers that are relative to the video discussion yesterday. So if you don't want to be part of that, no problem at all. Just bow out gracefully of the video. Just say hi in the comment section or give it a thumb up if you're feeling extra special generous, and I'll see you in the next video. But if you want to stick around, see what happens and what goes on, this starts off really interestingly. If you watch yesterday's video, read what's going on down at the bottom, because I never did this scenario until this morning, so I had no idea how the Horde one was going to play out. And Nathanos here is saying exactly what I said in yesterday's video. Gen Greymane is being reckless. He's now kind of abusing his position as the leader of the Alliance to further his own agenda, which is to try and kill Sylvanas, to get revenge for her killing his son during the opening segment of the Worgen starting line in Cataclysm. So he's there going, what's this guy doing? You know, he's sending one airship up against a fleet of Horde. You know, this guy's just, he's asking for us to annihilate him. So it's really kind of cool that kind of really married together with what we were discussing yesterday. I'm not kind of doing I told you so kind of thing, but it's just interesting that definitely was the theory behind the storyline. It wasn't just, you know, I feel this and I feel that. No, this was definitely therefore the mentality that Blizzard had in mind for what motivation they wanted to attach to Gen Greymane, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, the actual progressionary path of this scenario very much mirrors what we did yesterday from the Alliance side. From the Alliance, we started off on the airship, immediately jumped onto the airship cannons, and started to shoot down the Bat Riders from the Horde. This one, we're starting off on the ships because we're Horde, but we're getting into a catapult and we're shooting down Griffin Riders as part of the Alliance. So those two go absolutely hand in hand. And just like that opening segment as well, about halfway through your shots, your defeat, you're shooting them down, a mage will come into the fray from the opposing faction, freeze whichever weapon you're using, the catapult or the cannon from the airship, and then you've got to defeat them before you can go back and finish off defeating the riders. Now, that in itself, not just that those two marry each other, but it's very reminiscent, if you were in Wrath of the Lich King, of the gunship fight from ICC, because that's exactly what would happen there. Every so often, the Horde or the Alliance guy would call in for a mage to come out on the deck and then freeze all the cannons, and then you'd have to defeat the mage, send a party over to the opposite ship, defeat the mage, get back to your ship, which would unfreeze the cannons, and then you could go about fighting again. From there, it's again a carbon copy of yesterday's scenario. Once you've shot down all the riders, Griffin Riders, you then go from ship to ship to ship, defeating the boarding party. Yesterday, we were the boarding party and we were defeating the crew and then the captain. So it's following the exact same principle. Now, before you think that's a criticism, not necessarily. Now, I absolutely believe that probably a lot of people now have both Horde and Alliance characters, but I think it's very rare that people play those at exactly the same time. They kind of turn to them more, I would imagine, once they get a little bit bored and they just want to shake up the content. They'll tend to focus on their main character for, let's say 6 months or so, and then they're like, yeah, I've done everything that I need to do, let's jump on now to my Alliance or my Horde character, and then start from scratch again. So if you do that, then this scenario is not going to feel identical to the one that you did from the opposing faction. It's going to feel a little bit fresh again because you haven't done it for ages, I'd imagine. But if you are an altaholic and you do it all on your characters, and it doesn't matter if they're Horde or Alliance, then yes, it probably is going to feel that you're doing the same scenario over and over and over again. And there's not a lot I can really say on top of that to defend it, because they are so similar. What I would have liked to have seen, and yesterday I drew a comparison between this scenario and also the starting scenario, or the starting area for the Horde and the Alliance in Mists of Pandaria, where it had a very kind of similar theme. The only difference there, though, of course, was the Alliance was at one tip of the Jade Forest and the Horde were at the other tip. So although you're doing very similar things, the actual aesthetics of the area made it feel that bit different. Because the aesthetics are identical in both these scenarios, because we're seeing it from the Horde and the Alliance perspective, and they're taking place in the exact same location, I would have preferred... I would have preferred to have seen a different progressionary pathway for the Horde. I would have liked to have seen, maybe, instead of doing what we did, we start off on the shore as part of the party which have landed. We've got to get Sylvanas to safety first. Now that we know that Gen Greymane is flying in and just going for her big time, maybe try and build and weave a scenario around that, and then maybe end up with coming here to the ship, bypass the shooting down of the Griffin, bypass the jumping from ship to ship to ship to fight the boarding parties, let the crew deal with that. And that, again, kind of marries with what the Alliance are doing and doesn't really interfere with that part of the storyline. And then we go onto the ship here and try and sabotage it. So, yeah, but it's a minor complaint. It just would have been nice to see a little bit of difference, but I can understand why they've done it this way. So what we have to do here is plant our little bombs around the place. We've got to fill up that bar at the bottom before it goes into stage 6. So we've got to, kill the people here, make sure the sabotaging is going okay. But one thing you've got to be very careful about is these guards tend to have really alternating health. Like, those ones that I was fighting there, they had about 400k health. Not too bad. But one of these group here has actually got 900,000 health and hits pretty hard. So if you're not careful, you can get yourself in a wee bit of trouble if you've blown your cooldowns on a previous pack. And I did actually die a couple of times in this scenario. One, because I slightly overreached with the amount of guards that I pulled. Number 2, an upcoming bug, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my death in a second, where I'm going to attack Gen Greymane, but I'm taking out his guards first. But look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they're stunning me, they're locking me out. But when I went into Metamorphosis then, I couldn't move. It locked me there, and look, when I died, my character just gets blown off the ship. So this is clearly a work in progress. They've got to iron a few things out, because jumping to that Metamorphosis, it was game over. I was already in trouble with the amount that I pulled. The fact that 2 of them were stunning me, and it was almost like chain stuns, which wasn't good. And then, of course, getting locked out in Metamorphosis form just sealed the deal. And on top of that, Gen Greymane himself hits like an absolute truck. So being a bit squishy in leather armor, although I'm hitting him as best I possibly can here, he gets me right down. He then turns into Worgen form and starts slashing the absolute crap out of me. And I had to run around for a bit, and eventually my health was just so low, I jumped in for him to kill me so I could just respawn and then come back in at full health. It doesn't, because you have the guy with you, that Nathanios or whatever, he will keep the fight going, so you won't get locked out. But yeah, there's a few glitches here. It plays out very, very similar indeed to the Alliance version from yesterday. But look, if you're just playing one faction, who cares at the end of the day? But let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. And I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description below, and I'll be back with more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.